be adventurous and we get to go places that we wouldn't normally go to and that we wouldn't know about.
Somebody help me.
The adventures help us work together and focus on our teamwork and not judge each other, and then we can get through the whole adventure together.
Never give up, always believe in yourself, and conquer our fears.
Urban Blazers teaches me to be brave.
Urban Blazers is a nonprofit in Philadelphia that provides about 1,200 kids from under-resourced communities with character education through active experience in nature. So we take kids on local trails, we go skiing and canoeing, rock climbing, and we also do a lot of more of a low ropes course type model that we do on a regular basis at their schools or community centers. Urban Blazers is really excited to work with the National Park Service through their Rivers, Trails, and Conservation program. A big piece to our partnership is to be able to provide a better experience for the students.
Introduce a non-native species.
The Rivers, Trails, and Conservation Assistance Program of the National Park Service. It's a community assistance arm of the agency. So we work with local community groups and nonprofits, municipal governments, to plan parks and trails, to improve access to waterways, and to create recreational opportunities through locally led partnerships.
I'm Sophie, good to see everybody.
One of the things we're trying to do a lot more is to work with innovative partners to really engage a population that we haven't done a good job of engaging, which is young people in urban areas. And Urban Blazers is pretty much an ideal partner for us because they have connections with a lot of different schools and they're already doing some of this work.
Urban Blazers was actually founded by someone who felt that a lot of the most important experiences that he had as a child were hiking and rock climbing and skiing with his family, and decided that he wanted to offer those some way to kids in Philadelphia. Like sometimes you're scared about it before you try it, and then once you try it, you're like, oh, you know what? That wasn't that bad, and I'm glad I did it. And sometimes you try it, and you say, that wasn't that bad, but I don't ever really want to do that again, right?
Ready? Go.
We opened this middle school to serve the community. We're a community school, and we only accept students that qualify for the free reduced lunch program and also who are in this immediate neighborhood. St. James School is an independent school. We do all the fundraising ourselves, and we do that so that we can ensure that students have a high quality of education. And we want to make sure that they really have a holistic education and that we're educating the whole child. So we partnered with Urban Blazers and started to coming up with a curriculum that we could work with students on, understanding team building, the importance of outdoor play, and the role that being outside and being in nature can play in a child's life. We find that it really helps calm the students to be outside as much as possible.
One of the most important reasons that Urban Blazers was started is because of the character traits that you're able to either practice or develop in the outdoors. Going out into nature is the ultimate new thing for almost every single student that we work with. They're doing something that practically no one else in their neighborhood has ever done, which creates bonding as a class.
During my first year here, I didn't really know anybody, so when we went on those trips, I got to know them more and more, and I got to become really good friends with them. And now they're like my best friends ever.
The favorite part about the trip was getting in the water.
Often when they come to school, their shared experiences are very negative. Going on all of these outdoor trips, it gives them positive shared experiences to discuss and to build their friendships. There were two young boys in my class who had known each other from their previous schools through who fought who and who yelled at who in the hallway, and they didn't know anything about each other other than that. They would not speak to each other, they would not sit next to each other, and it was very difficult to have either of them function because of this animosity. We went on a hike and we had to walk across a fallen tree, and they were both terrified. All of the other students went across, and it was just the two of them, and they talked it out, they held each other's hands, and they walked across the log bridge together. After that, they had something in common that wasn't a negative experience and that wasn't harmful for them to be thinking about. And now they're much better friends because they have something to talk about and that they really trust each other and had a sense of unity.
They understand that when we're on any field trips, it's listening, it's paying attention, it's being responsible. And that carries over into the other classrooms. That focus pays off in many ways.
I've seen students work together in school much more effectively after being able to help each other through a difficult situation. The problem-solving skills that they need when they're trying to figure out how to maneuver on the ski slopes or when they were hiking, all of those things come back into the classroom, and you do see their problem-solving skills improve over time.
What do you think before Jaleka?
Their experiences outdoors give them so much to write about. Conquering their fears, using determination, experiencing new things are all topics that they can feel comfortable and confident writing about and that are shared with their peers, so it's easy for them to discuss with one another as well.
Are you going to jump it?
I had to go across the lake on these rocks, but I was scared to. I still did it, and I didn't get wet.
For them to explore and find out there's more than just playing basketball. They can go hiking, fishing, see eagles, see hawks. That's the magic that you see. Now they appreciate the outdoors.
It's great. Skipping a rock, seeing a reindeer. I don't know. It just excited me.
If you're done, we can walk out.
Somebody was living in here. All right, go ahead. It's a scary, scary thing.
Urban Blazers, they really focus on unstructured time in nature and self-discovery. And I think those two things are really ways that more young people can feel connected with the outdoors.
It's great how the National Park Service is embracing the idea of a broader population getting into the parks and experiencing them. We can start in the parks that are local to us, that it's a stepping stone to the state parks and then to the national parks.
The National Park Service as an agency realizes that if they want to remain relevant to the American people for another 100 years, they really need to do a better job of meeting people where they are. By working with partners like Urban Blazers, we start building those connections, and then maybe you really connect with one student, and then they come back with their parents, and then they decide to do an internship with the National Park Service, and then through that internship they can get hired.
And we're going to line up across the creek, working up against the water.
So even if you engage 100 students and get one student to come back and work for the Park Service, it'll really help us to diversify our agency in a way that's very needed.
The way to their intellect is through their heart. And if we have opportunities for them to learn something that intrigues them, sparks their curiosity, gets them more interested, that's where the fire begins to grow of them wanting to do more research, more reading, more active participation when they're in the classroom or they're having a conversation around the dining room table with their family. That's what will help them make that personal connection that they can carry with them, not only back to the classroom, but for the rest of their lives.
I got Rusty! He got Rusty! I got our Rusty! Hey, don't put it down.
It is a female.
They got baby.
Oh, they got baby.
That's the egg?
This is a...
Oh, she does have eggs.
She is very much a reproductive female, so she can lay hundreds of eggs. So by removing her, you're removing hundreds of potential Rusties from the creek.
Oh, me came up.
Philadelphia has an incredible park system, but the usership tends to be much more from the wealthier neighborhoods rather than some of the high poverty communities or even working class neighborhoods that are really close to the trail.
We're going to be walking like 2 blocks to get on the 61 bus.
As much as we would love to have the funding to take kids out to Yosemite or a huge park like that, it's not what is going to build them into lifetime users of the parks. We take them to the Boxers Trail, which is across the street from where some students live. Then they can go out there on their own. When it's hot and they're bored on a Sunday, we want our kids to be able to hop onto a bus and they know where to get off, they know where they can hang out, they know how to get back. And at 13, 14 years old, they're able to do that safely.
I've seen how our students have grown through Urban Blazer. It's not just taking kids hiking or rock climbing, it's actually educating the kids and making them aware that the park system, the city, the nature, the environment, how that all plays in educating a child.
It's good.
Schooling needs to be for the children and for what the children need for their lives and for their learning. And there's nothing that can really replace the enrichment of showing these inner city students sites and places that they will have never experienced otherwise. And they deserve to be able to see those things and have that experience and have those peaceful moments where all you hear is just the trees blowing. It's really just an experience that could not be replaced.
My favorite part about this trip was probably looking at the waterfalls and just looking at them.
Sometimes we get frustrated, sometimes we like get mad and everything, but we gotta do like teamwork.
Just stick right here.
Tyrene and Ezekiel, if you want to get feedback, you can come up here.
Well, matter of fact, the whole group. Would y'all like to hear my feedback? Yeah. I like how everybody, they was walking and just like when some people face difficulties, they didn't stop.
I like how we was helping each other and we wasn't laughing at each other when we got scared or anything.
In life, it'll be a good thing to have a person that you can work with and go through a lot of stuff with and not be criticized on what you do, but you have another person to back you up.
Did you ever think you'd be able to do this that good?
Yes, I think I'll be able to do this that good because I believe in myself.